she ventured into the wild with nothing but curiosity, courage, and compassion. Dr. Jane Goodall changed forever how we see our closest animal cousins, the chimpanzees, and in doing so, redefined what it means to be human. This is the story of her life, her discoveries, and the unforgettable moment when a chimpanzee returned to her wild home and embraced her in a hug of gratitude. Valerie Jane Morris Goodall was born in London in 1934. From a young age, she was fascinated by animals and Africa. She dreamed of going to the forests, studying animals in their natural habitat. After school, she worked as a secretary and eventually made her way to Africa, where she wrote to famed paleoanthropologist Louis Leakey, expressing her passion for studying animals. In 1957, Leakey offered her a position, first assisting him, then paving the way to do independent fieldwork. Leakey believed that studying great apes, chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans, could unlock clues about human evolution. In June 1960, at age 26, Jane Goodall arrived at Gombe Stream Game Reserve, now Gombe National Park, Tanzania, to begin what would become the longest-running wild primate study in history. She faced skepticism by many old-school scientists. Her methods seemed unorthodox, naming chimps rather than numbering them, allowing emotional bonds. But she persisted. For months, she sat alone, observing from a distance, trying to earn trust. Eventually, one chimp, David Greybeard, allowed her closer. She observed him stripping leaves off a twig, inserting it into a termite mound, and twisting it to draw out termites, a tool use behavior never before documented in wild chimpanzees. That discovery challenged the idea that tool making was uniquely human. Leakey famously remarked, "Either redefine tool or accept chimpanzees as human." Over decades at Gombe, Goodall observed behaviors that upturned prior beliefs. Chimpanzees don't just eat plants. They also hunt smaller primates, like colobus monkeys, cooperatively. They show tool use beyond termites, stripping leaves from twigs, modifying sticks, etc. They have distinct personalities, emotional states, social bonds, hugging, kissing, comfort during distress, long-term relationships. But she also discovered darker sides, dominance struggles, aggression, sometimes infanticide, and even warfare between chimp communities, the so-called Gombe Chimpanzee War, 1974 to 1978. These revelations blurred the line between human and animal, showing that chimpanzees share capacities we long thought uniquely human. But perhaps no moment better captures the depth of connection possible between human and chimpanzee than the moment when one chimp returned to the wild and embraced Jane. Meet Wounda, a chimpanzee rescued after severe injury, rehabilitated under Jane Goodall's care at the Chimpunga Chimpanzee Rehabilitation Center. On the day of her release into the wild, Wounda turned, walked back, and wrapped her arms around Jane in what many consider one of the most touching moments in the history of conservation. Jane herself later said, "This embrace was one of the most extraordinary moments of her entire life." That hug speaks volumes. Trust earned, bond formed, gratitude expressed. It's a vivid reminder that when we treat animals with empathy, they may respond in kind. Jane's work was not without risk and difficulty. She lived in basic conditions in remote Tanzania, often vulnerable to illness, storms, and wildlife dangers. Chimpanzees can be unpredictable and strong. There were moments of aggression. In her early years, she had no safety net. She had to rely on her understanding, calm demeanor, and respect for boundaries. She sometimes had to stay hidden, observe quietly, so as not to provoke alarm. Over time, the chimp community came to respect her presence as non-threatening. Her patience, consistency, and gentleness gradually earned the trust of many chimpanzees. Some would allow her close, take food nearby, share space. That trust took years to earn, through silent waiting, respect for boundaries, and showing she posed no threat. It's worth noting, Goodall did not study gorillas in the same way she did chimpanzees. Her work focused heavily on chimpanzees at Gombe, though Leakey's Trimate program included study of gorillas and orangutans in other settings. Jane Goodall's legacy extends far beyond Gombe. In 1977, she founded the Jane Goodall Institute, which continues chimpanzee conservation, habitat protection, and community education. In 1991, she launched Roots and Shoots, a youth-led global environmental program, empowering young people to take local action for wildlife, people, and the planet. Her work forced science to reconsider how we treat animals. She argued for seeing them as individuals, with personalities and feelings, not just data points. Her field study is now the longest running in wild primate behavior. Jane traveled the world as a messenger of peace, speaker, advocate for climate, habitat, and animal welfare. Her message, what you do makes a difference. You have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. Even after decades in the field, she continued to inspire new generations to act with compassion toward animals and the environment. Dr. Jane Goodall's life reminds us that patience, empathy, and a willingness to see the world through another's eyes can break barriers. The hug from Wounda is more than a viral moment. It's a testament to trust built over time and the possibility of connection even between very different beings. If this story moved you, consider supporting organizations working to protect chimpanzees, primate habitat, or youth education programs. And remember, wherever you are, your actions can make a difference. Thanks for watching. If you liked this, subscribe for more stories of people and animals who changed our world.